Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So today I thought we would do some stenciling on our pages a little bit before we put them in our little blue journal. Here's our little journal so far. Got the holes punched in the spine. Got our signatures all ready to roll. And I thought I would use my vintage photo in my shabby shutters because it matches the colors here on the inside. And got my coffee. I know you probably can't see my cup, but it says it's a good day to smile. And I need something to drink today. My throat is really dry. So I think I'm going to start with signature number 3. And as we finish it, we're going to sew it in. And we're going to start right here. And as I was looking at this, I really like these butterflies on this. I just really like them. So I'm going to put this big plastic piece over there. I think, now I'm not going to take them out of their placement in here because they need to stay where they are. But I think I'm going to put these butterflies right here along the edge, but I'm only going to do like that much of them. Here it is. Okay. Now, I need to get the brush here. I need that, and we're going to need that. Okay. And I want to put those right there. Come on, get off there. Now, when you're stenciling, the important thing to remember is you want to get a lot on your brush or your dauber or whatever you're using, because you don't want to stop mid-stencil, okay? And you want to hold it down. You want to make sure you've got it held down, and you want to come in off the sides. So I'm coming in off the sides, okay, because I don't want to pick up my pieces. So I'm coming in off the side, and then as I work my way down, I'm holding it in. And because this has so many little pieces, I don't want to pick up these little pieces. Okay? And I'm doing the same thing as I work my way down. And I'm using the middle of the brush, not the ends. I'm keeping it in the middle of the brush. And I'm continually going in circles. Okay? Now when I'm finished, you just lift straight up and you get your stencil. Okay? Nice and clean. There are no bipply bops all around. And then we can move on to a different page. Now, you don't have to do every page in your book. You really don't. I just want some of them, you know, with something on them. Like this page, I'm probably not going to do anything on this page. So I know I want these butterflies, but I want them, come here. I want them kind of at an angle. And I don't know that I want all 3 of them. And I don't know that I want them clustered. So I'm thinking I want this little one. Now I haven't added any more to my brush. I want this little one here, like that. And then maybe this little one down here. So I'm just adding this little one here on this page, because this page is little. You know, it's just a little dictionary page. Now, why did I not take these pages out? Because they are already cut and ready to go where they're supposed to be in this book. And if I move them, then I could disrupt where they're supposed to be. Okay, now as you can see, there's a difference. I'm going to pick this up and show you. There's a difference between the brightness of the green on this page and the green on that page. That's because I'm running out of oxide. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But also because of the pages. This one's soaked up a little bit more because it's thinner. But also because this one is coffee dyed and it shows up a little bit more. Okay, so let's flip back here. On a few pages, I kind of have ideas of what I want to do. I don't want to do anything on that one. On some of these, like this one, this up here, even though it's supposed to be a little tree ring, I'm going to just do this little part because it reminds me of a coffee stain. So I did the same thing. I just, you know, and now I'm just lightly going around it. And it's just real light on my page. It's really light. And that's kind of what I want. I don't want it real dark. You know, coffee stains aren't really that dark unless you have a big goop on the bottom of your page. There. So now I've got them intertwined. And that's all I want. I was dyeing paper yesterday. And of course, I set my cup down. It was in the morning and I sat my cup down and it was like, oh, why did I do that? And then after I did it, it was like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. So I wasn't too worried about it. All right, so we're going to take this. So whoever made this, what they did was they took this tree ring and then they dissected it into different sections. And I think that's why I like it. Because, you know, they used one thing and they dissected it into different pieces. And I just really like that it's that simple. There. There we go. Now I know you really can't see it a lot on this dark stained paper, but I can see it. It's very subtle. It's just very subtle. Now I'm also going to do some on this page. Just a little bit. Maybe I think I'm going to do it. Where do I want to do it? Maybe down here. You know, because my browns have a lot of browns mixed in, so I'm getting a really different shading. Okay, there's our center page. Oh, I just love that bird. And now back here, I'm probably going to be putting pockets here, but up here, I'm going to put these butterflies, and I only want the top two. Get off of there. Oh no, I just want the top one. I just want the top one. He's just looking glorious up there. And I'm just going to go right over the green. I'm not even going to wipe it off because I might get some nice shading with it. You know, a little bit of green, a little bit of greeny brown, a little bit of greenish brown. That did not come out right. Okay, so let's move that. Oh, that's a different color right in there. I picked up some of the green that was on there. That's very different. Okay, so I think with this, I'm just going to take it, I'm going to shade down the seam here. I'm going to shade down the edging here. I'm not going to see much of this because it's going to get sewed in. There we go. And I'm going to shade in this one because it's wrinkly and I want to pick up those wrinkles. There we go. Okay, I'm good on this one. Now, let's go on and get this one sewed in. Let's go on and put the top on this. And let's move this out of our way. Now, I've got the everything here that I need to sew it in. But we need to make sure that everything is where we need it. Now remember, our centerpiece we marked with that paper clip, and we marked it on the bottom or the side. There's the pink one, so we wouldn't sew it in. Remember, I told you I needed to do that. So I'm going to take a big paper clip and I'm going to put it together here because I need to make sure I catch everything on this side. I caught all my pages, and I need to make sure. Now I can't put one over the top and like I normally would, because I'm leaving that top page tall. So I'm tucking them in really tight with my fingers. I'm just taking my fingers and I'm tucking them in, and I'm gonna put one. Now where can I put it? I'm gonna put one up here towards the top, I think. Up here. Okay, now I need to take this paper clip off. Okay, that's the pink one that was marking this. Now, before I punch my holes, I need to pull that bottom piece down. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold this over just like that. Okay, this is the bottom piece that's going to fold up. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it down on here, and I'm going to line it up with my holes. Okay, let's make sure everything is how it needs to be. Now I'm lining it up, and I want to make sure you see this. And I'm taking a pencil, just a regular number 2 pencil. Okay, I'm lining it up. And you can do all 3 of these together if you want. And if you want to do that, you would go like this. You would line them up just like this. So you would stack them all together. Like this is how you would do it. So you would make sure your tops are all together. Oops. And the way that I do it to make sure that they're together is I put a paper clip like that so that I know it's in between a hole, and I'll just scoot it. And then I lay them down and line them up next to a row of holes. Okay, can you see that? There's the row of holes. And then I take my pencil, and next to the row of holes, I just draw my line. Okay. Now, you all have seen me do this before. I've showed you this. And we're going to do this one. Now, before I unpaperclip anything, I pick them up. And I make sure that my line comes up through all of them. Okay, you got to make sure you can see that line. You got to make sure you can see it. Okay, now I can't see it on the black very well. And you need to make sure that you're straight. Let's scoot that one down there a little bit. And in a minute, you're going to see the top of my head. And then I do apologize, but I want to make sure that that is where it's supposed to be. It is. Okay. So then I can take that off. Now, since I can't see that black one very well, I need to mark it again, because I cannot see this black. Maybe I can make it a little darker. There, I think that's better. Come on, line up. Oops, I did not mark that one right. Come on. There we go. Okay, now I can see it. Now, you're going to take your pages and you are going to open them like this so that you're punching from where you just stabbed your holes, okay? You're going to turn them inside out like this. Now, you're going to find your center hole first. You're going to line this up straight. Okay, let's move that down a little bit. You're going to find your center hole. You're going to lay this down almost flat, okay? And you're just going to push it through. Okay? I'm just pushing it through. That's all I did. I just pushed it through. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if you can see it through the bird. There. Right there. Okay? Now, you don't have to turn them inside out. If you're pretty good at aiming from the inside, you know, finding your hole and aiming from the inside, you can do it that way. I am not good at doing it that way. Especially on dark paper, I'm really bad at aiming. I cannot see very well, you know, coming through dark paper. But you do have to make sure your pages stay lined up well. And mine are kind of wiggling right now because I turned it back. Here we go. Okay. I need to move that out the way. Now, the other ones are light enough. I may not have to do it this way. I might be able to see them. To show you the other way. Okay, so there are my 3 holes. And I can show you over here. There are my 3 holes. And I didn't punch through my flap. Okay, so now let's sew our pages in. Okay. So, for my pages, I'm just using my off-white waxed thread, and just like with any other pages, we're going to do 3 times. You guys have seen me do this 100 times, at least 200 times, if you've watched any of my videos. Sometimes it goes well, and sometimes not so well. Now, if you are using old pages, like I'm using, make sure you have a blunt end needle. See how blunt that needle is? I'm trying to show you on my shirt. See how blunt that needle is? You want to make sure it's blunt because it will rip and shred your paper. I have had that happen many, many times. And then you just have to replace that page. Okay. Make sure that you have your book going top. That is not top. See? It's upside down. And if you don't have to determine top on your book, first signature that you put in determines top, or the way you have your signature in determines top. Okay, put your needle through the center. See, I moved them. So now I have to get it back through. There it is. There it is. Okay, there we go. So before I move them again, let's put my needle in there. Okay, so put your needle through your papers. And then put it through the center hole in the back. Now, you have to be really careful if you have pages like this. Now, I'm just going to fold mine up for a minute. And then pull it through. And if they're hard to get through, just grab you some of your jewelry pliers. And wiggle and wiggle and wiggle. Or you can take your awl and make your holes, and stab it through your holes to make them bigger, which is what I may have to do because they're starting to close back up. Okay. Now, after you get it in, you need to make sure that you put your signatures where you want them. Come back through the top. Go through your top hole in your paper. Come on. Make sure you can see them there. Now, don't pull your string tight right now, because what you're going to do is you're going to line this up to the inside of your book, okay? So you don't want to pull this really tight because you still have to go all the way down here. So I'm going to go back through the bottom hole, and I'm just being really gentle and lining my pages up as I'm going through, because I do have those older book pages and I want to be gentle with them. Make sure I'm not, punching a new hole, and making sure I go through the right hole down here. You want to make sure that you're going through the right hole in your spine. You don't want to go through one of these holes. You want to go through the one that you're supposed to be going through. Now, once I go through, I fold this back up so I can hold it in place and pull my needle through. Now, for the next row, I think I am going to make my holes a little bit wider because they have started really closing up on me. And I will show you how to do that, just in case you have that problem. Now, these are really loose. That's not going to be a problem because we're going to tighten them up. So to get this to go back through the center, take your center thread that you have in here, pull it down, and just hold it down. Okay? Put your needle back through and guide it back through those threads. Okay? And then take your center thread, lay it over the needle, because you want a thread on both sides, and then pull it back through. And if you have to, now I have really weak hands. You guys might be able to do this without that. But okay. Now let's take our thread off of our needle. Now we're going to tighten this up. To tighten this up, I need to make sure my pages are where I want them. I'm going to open up my flap. Now, I need these to be together, so I'm going to pull from the bottom. And then I'm going to line these up. And then I'm going to very gently pull this one. Make sure they're together. I'm going to pull this one. And I'm going to pull this one. Then I'm going to pull this one. So you just have to be gentle and just pull them back and forth, okay? Now, when you get them, you want them to sound like this. Kind of like a waxy guitar string, okay? You don't want them to be loosey-goosey. And you don't want to tear your paper. And then you're going to tie a knot. You're going to go one. Now, before I tie it, I'm going to turn it over here. I'm going to make sure they're where they are, where I want them to be. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. I can fold that one up out of my way. That one's good. And that one's good. Okay, so I can take my paper clips off now. Okay, and I can trim that, or I can just leave it sit there until I'm ready. Now, we need to check up. See, that's scooted. That's scooted at the bottom. Now, what are we going to do? See, look. It's scooted at the bottom and it's level at the top. What are we going to do? We're going to untie this, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It happens more times than you would think. And we really can't do a lot of scooting because we've already sewed it through the holes. So what you have to do, you can't, let me think. I can't really untie it, can I? All right, so here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to take my folds. I have to be careful because I've already cut it. All right, so where's my small scissors? Come here, little guys. All right, I'm going to have to take my scissors. Yep, see, this is because I wasn't paying attention. And take a snip. Oops, had more pages than I wanted. Take a snip. Fold up. And fold over. I need to make sure it's straight. And do the same thing on this side. Up and over. Make sure you're straight. Now, I have to increase that little sliver just by, well, just by a sliver. Okay. Make sure I don't have any other pages. Okay. So on my next one, I really have to be careful that that does not scoot around. So I'm going to have to maybe keep the next one clipped separately. You know, because we have two of them that are folded like that. Okay, so now that has been corrected. Let's fold it. Okay, it's not sticking out anymore. All right, one of them's in. Let's fold the pages down. Tell them, this is your home. You're staying here now. You're not going to go wandering around, visiting the neighbors, getting into mischief. Now, we need to make these holes bigger. So, we're going to take our awl, and we're going to punch them through. Okay? And I'm punching through this side. I want it to go out. So, I'm holding on to the... I'm trying. There. Boy, they really closed up quite a bit. But I'm just punching through. Somewhere I have my book. Let me see where my book is. Well, you know what? We're going to start a new book. So I take a book and I put where I'm punching right in the middle. And I have a tool, just I'm not sure where my tool went either. There we go. Okay, so now they're bigger, and I should be able to get my needle through better. That's the one I missed. Right there, smack dab in the middle. Okay, now let's try it again. Oh dear, I bent my needle. Well, that could be part of the problem, huh? All right, and let's go on and clean our needle off, since it has all that goo on it. So to clean off your needles from all the tapes and the adhesives, just take a baby wipe and completely wipe them down. You can also use, I have found that works really well, and I use it on my scissors, Clorox wipes, you know, the disinfecting wipes that you use in your kitchen. They work great on your scissors, your needles, anything that you use in your craft rooms. I use them on my desk to clean my desk. So you can use those on them too. All right, let's do number 3. Now, we've already marked these. Let's make sure our marks line up. Now, where's our centerpiece at here? Now, our centerpiece is another one that's, is it folded? I don't think she's folded, but it is our centerpiece. Let's make sure our lines line up. Now, our bottoms aren't even. So, I've got them even. Now, let's see, is ours, oops, that was upside down. So, our centerpiece is folded a little bit. Okay. So, let's kind of put that on there. Maybe a smaller one would hold them in place better. Let's try the smaller ones. Maybe they'll hold tighter. Okay, so it's just got that small fold, but we still need to hold down here. Down toward the bottom. So that it's not wiggling around. So let's try that. Okay, so I want to make sure that my holes are where my holes should be. Let me make sure here. And let me make sure that I can see them. See, that one was way off. Okay, right there. Yeah, that one's way off. Okay, I'm glad I checked. All right, now if you want to just do them from the inside, like we normally do. Oh, Lord, I'm going to poke her right in the eyeball. Oh, that's not going to be any fun. Okay, you can put your finger where you need to poke. Okay, and then you can place your awl in the inside. Okay, where you think you're going to have to go and push against. Close your pages, and you'll feel the resistance of the two of them. So close and push, and I can already tell that it's yep, it should be right there. Where's that book I had? I'm just going to make a small hole so I can see them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was right where I had it. Right in your eyeball. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do them from the inside after I poke that small hole. So I'm going to close them, and I'm going to push it through. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up where I poked that small hole. I'm going to close it and push it through. And I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to close it and push it through. So you can take your needle, you can use your awl, And from the outside, you can take after you've made your mark and you can poke in to give yourself a little mark and say, this is where I need to do it, to make sure that you're in the right spot. Now again, I have these flaps down. And again, I'm going to pull off 1, 2, 3. There are all kinds of just little cheats that you can use to help yourself, keep your paper straight, keep everything the way that you want it. You find one that works well for you, especially for in the instance that you're working on. I can't tell you one that's going to work great every time. Okay, I'm not even going to mess with that. Every single time, because it's going to change every single time that you try to do it. What's working great now for me to be able to poke through this lady. Ugh, I can't even look at her eyeball. Okay, so I've got to hold that still. Now I'm going through the middle. I'm going through this middle. You know what worked great for me this time? Might not work so good if I had really, really big, thick signatures in a 5 or 10 signature journal, because they would be so big. But these are smaller signatures, so I can do it this time. Okay, so I'm going to go back through the top. So you have to, I'm giving you guys tools that you can put in your toolbox of things that you can use, and that you can try if you're having trouble getting things lined up or seeing how to do them. In ways that I get them. Come on. Oh, it's getting sticky again. Okay, here. Turn over. Okay, so we're going back through the middle again. So I'm going to take this and, whoops, I pulled it too far. I need to pull this back. I took too much of my string. Hold on, I took too much here. I got to take some of it back. So I can reach it. That's better. Okay, I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to hold it in place. And I'm going to put this right through the middle. Now what I'm trying to avoid is splitting this thread. And I think I've showed you before what splitting the thread means. And if you don't remember, I'll show you after I get this through that hole. There it is. Come on. Right there it is. All you gotta do is go in it. There you go. Goofy needle. Oh, yeah, it's very sticky. He was very sticky. Very, very sticky. Okay. Now let's get you lined up here, my friend. Boy, this thread is so sticky today. I don't know what in the world. Oops. Okay, now I want to make sure that this, now let's fold that back up. Now I can take that off the bottom because I know that it's, now let's make sure that that's even where it's supposed to be. That's good. I can take these paper clips off. I'm good because I need my paper to do what I want it to do. Okay. Now it's a little snug, so that's good. Make sure it's lined up where it's supposed to be. Yep, we are good. Okay, there's one. And there's two. And there's three. Okay, so there's two in. Okay, I'm going to show you something. See how that paper bent when I closed that? Let me show you again. Let me close this. Let me close it. Now, see how that is bending right there? That means I need to take my sliver, needs to be a little bit bigger because that's hitting the center. Okay? So, that's what that means. If your centerpieces, even on your pockets or your envelopes or anything like that, if your pages are bending, that means that you need to make your center cut like this. It needs to be bigger because they're touching. They don't have enough room. They don't have enough room when they fold. They're folding like this. They're doing this number. And they need to do this. There needs to be that little tiny space between them, like this, for them to lay down. And what's happening is they're doing this, and they're folding over each other like this. So you need to make that a little bit bigger, even though you probably don't want to. You need to. Okay? You really need to, because it will lay nicer and your book will look nicer. And then you can come back in with your little dibbly bop. And I can't get my hands around it to do it. And if this doesn't reach it in okay, just take your scissors. Turn your book upside down. And a rounded corner always will lay nicer than a squared corner. And just round off your corner. There's less bulk on your rounded corners. And round off your corner. Now, this is especially true if you're making coin envelopes, seed envelopes, any of those bigger. Okay, now watch when I fold it. Now, it's gonna have to lay down, but see when I fold it now, there's nothing touching. So now it's just got to lay flat for a while, so that it can't, so that it'll lay flat, so that curve is out of there. Okay, now let's do our third one. Oh, we forgot to stencil in there. You all didn't yell loud enough, darn it. Okay, I'll go back and do it. Excuse me. Okay, I know for sure where I want to put some in here. Darn, I was all excited about that one too. Okay. Darn. Oh well. I'll go back and do it. Okay, and this one, I want to put, is that upside down? Oh, the whole signature is upside down. And this, I want to put that right there. Right there like that. And then over top of it, I want to put that little butterfly in the green. Okay, it doesn't look as good as I thought it would look. Okay. this one, I'm just going over some of the wrinkles. Now on this one, I want to do this one. Can't believe I forgot to do that other signature. Or you big goofball. There we go. Now I wonder if we could lay that on top of there. Let's just see what we can build. Like that. Now, remember I told you about hitting the little stuff? There's the little thing that I hit the last time on this one. It's a stinker. It's a stinker. So now I have to go the opposite direction on this one. And I have to really be careful. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now let's maybe do this part up here in the corner. Now, I can come back on some of these others and maybe do some stamping. I've got butterflies, ladybugs, and I probably will. You know, stamping on them is easy peasy. See, there's a ladybug. That was why I picked this page. But I do want to put this little piece down here. Okay. And here, I want to layer this again. Now, if you don't like using browns in your, in your journals, you can use colors if you'd like. If you prefer the oxides and colors, use colors. Take colors and line your pages with the colors. Right now I've got out shabby shutters. You could use pinks. You could use yellows, especially on some of these pages because they've got things from the garden. They've got all kinds of things on them. Now here's another one of those that is folded, so we'll have to be careful with it. You could use any of the colors that you wanted. To give your page some accents. You could stamp in colors if you wanted. I love these little frogs. Aren't they pretty? Now, this is the page that folds out. And it's, we can glue it down and give ourselves a little tuck in there. I think back here, I'm going to do our butterflies right here. Except I want to do them right up the middle of the page. Okay. There we go. Now, as I got up here, this picked up a little bit of the brown. I like that. Okay. So now we're ready to do this one. Let's get everything clamped down on this one. All right, we can put all this away. Okay, now we need to make sure that this one is marked properly. Especially now that I know the other one was not marked properly. This one's kind of scaring me a little bit here. Let's put this one over here. That one's in spot. That one's okay. That one's okay. I can't see this one though. Let's mark it a little darker. Okay. Now let's get these tamped down. Get everybody into the middle. Make sure that that is all the way to the top. Okay. Clamping this in really well. So nothing's wiggling and squiggling. Oh, see, I've already got it out of place. Okay, let's move that up. Okay, we're going to have to put a big one over here. Yeah, the big ones I don't think hold as well as the little ones. At least the gold ones don't. The ones that are the colors, they hold really snug. Or they can. If you do them this way, they can hold really snug. Okay. That's better. Now, we could even trim that little piece off if needed, but I'm not going to mess with that right this minute. Okay. Now, this needs to come down so we can poke our holes. Now, I'm going to do this one similar to the other one I did. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to take my needle, and on the outside where the holes are, I'm going to punch me what I call them little eyeball needles, or little eyeball holes, and I can't do it with that needle. Now, and what I call that is I'm just taking and I'm just starting a little starter hole. I'm taking the tip and I'm just poking. I'm not poking through. I'm just taking and I'm just poking just a little tiny hole. Let me show you. I'm just poking a little teeny tiny hole like this. So when I get ready to poke it all the way through, I can. But I want to make sure that I'm poking in the right spot, because I think it just makes it easier for me to see. There. So now I'll be able to see. And see when I flip that page over, see the difference between keeping the page folded and flattening out the page. That's the difference. So I'm going to flatten out my page. I'm going to poke it through. I'm going to poke it through. That's why I don't poke it all the way through if I don't have to. And I'm going to poke it through, because it throws them more into the center of the page than onto the fold. Okay, where's my thread? Oh, here it is right here. Oops, I've got this upside down. It goes this way. And 1, 2, and 3. Now, here they are. Okay. Now, this will be the last one, and then our signatures are in. And our next video, we will be able to start decorating. I'm so excited. I have so many fun things that I would like to do. We'll be able to get our glue or our lace glued on today. I think I need to check the time here after we get this sewed in. Okay. Make sure our stenciling didn't take up too much time. Oh my goodness, I think these are already trying to close up again. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to come back through the top. There it is. Make sure that that's not moving. Okay. And then back into the bottom. Oops. And then back into the bottom hole. Come on. Like that. Now I'm going to pull those down. Let's get our threads even. Let's see, it goes this way. Okay. And tie it off. Left over right, right over left, and I don't know, that one looks pretty tight. I think I'm just going to leave it at 2. Snip it off. Now let's take off all of our paper clips. Let's put them all away. Get them off of our desk so we can see what we have created and how much time we have or don't have. Pull this up. Yep, we're good. Okay, so right now it's a little low. Let's clean our needle off before we put it away. It's sitting a little low in the saddle, but it will not stay that way. I guarantee it. It will not stay that way. And then we're going to, oh, my hands are even sticky. That is very sticky thread. Let's put, and let's clean this off too. There we go. Now, remember I talked to you about, you know, sitting low. Well, this is one that sits a little low, but as we work on it, you know, it won't. It will grow. So there's our spine. Now we will be putting our, let's see what time we have here. Oh my goodness, we're almost to an hour. So let's very quickly get our lace on here. So let me lay those over. Now let's get this cut and glued on. I'm going to cut it just a little bit longer than what I think because I can trim it after I stand this up and double check it. Let's see here. All right, right there. All right, I need to trim it right at that curve. Right there. There we go. Now, let's put, I need to put something on here on the front. Let's put this here to hold this closed for a minute. So I can put this on here. I'm not sure which way it goes, though. I don't think it really matters. Okay, I think it's going to go like that. Yeah, just like that. Okay. Whoops, well, they didn't last long, did they? So I can get that off my fingers. Okay, so here is our book. I can still see the fabric. I can see the cover. Wonderful. And I think I have a butterfly that I want to put on there, but I have to find the butterfly again because I laid it on the desk and then I've lost it. So it's around here somewhere. Okay, well, I want to thank you guys for joining me today as we stenciled our pages and we got our signatures sewn in. So now we are ready to play, and I am so excited. We're going to use some of the pages from the book. We're going to use some tea bags. We, of course, are going to be making some pockets, and we already have some pockets made. So we're going to be using those. And I have all kinds of fun ideas planned for this fun little book. And I can't wait to share them with you. And I want to thank you for joining me here at the Ladybug Journals. And I hope you continue and you create a book of your own so that you can have some fun with us. And, you know, it's always fun to have more of your friends at the crafting table. So until I see you again in the next video, ta-ta for now.